So if I go now on the website, I see Atom 13.5% and XPRT 24.63. And if I would natively stake on chain, the yields would be slightly higher. I think Atom 17.9 or something, and XPRT 33%. Is there some sort of like yield reserve that would go into the protocol to build up a reserve, or where does this kind of like little spread go? And for those that are less degens in the DeFi space like me, I'm not, lending, borrowing, looping, this and that. If I just want to like liquefy my asset and provide it as liquidity on Osmosis, is that also a future in which I might earn yields, like incentives on top of it? Is that also where the P-Stake token comes in, or potentially Osmo rewards, or how does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So number one is so the spread between the rewards, the actual on-chain rewards versus the rewards on stkATOM and stkXPRT right now. Why that spread looks larger is because the native chain rewards are obviously variable and keep moving. But what we've implemented with the current implementation, which has a lot of complications, to be honest, because the asset is issued directly on the Ethereum chain using a bridge. So actually, to give a little more context to all our listeners here, instead of directly issuing stkATOM on the Cosmos chain and bridging it over to the Ethereum chain, which is how most bridging happens today, back when we were building P-Stake, there were no bridges either. So we actually had to build our own bridge, which could directly issue assets on Ethereum. So whatever the staking rewards exist on the native chain, we try to match that and replicate that on the Ethereum chain by setting a reward rate. So it's a fixed percentage that needs to be changed via governance. So changing reward rate on a daily basis is literally impossible because it's a lot of governance overhead, and it's not the best approach either. So that is why the difference keeps on increasing. But obviously there is a revenue portion that comes to P-Stake, which is about 9% of the commission is around 9% on top of whatever commissions that the validators charge. With the newer implementation, this spread would be like invisible. There wouldn't be like a big spread. It would just be a small percentage of fee that P-Stake charges. And unlike the current implementation, your rewards would be fully redeemable at and you wouldn't have to pay a larger fees. We'll be following a C token model, which is the exchange rate model, not going into the technicalities of that, but essentially the value of your token would keep changing based on the underlying so if you deposit 100 Atom with a 10% staking reward on Atom, after a year you should have 110 Atom. But initially when you minted stkATOM, or when you staked Atom using P-Stake, you got like, let's say 100 stkATOM. You will always have 100 stkATOM, which can be used to redeem 110 Atom. So the number of stkATOM remains fixed, while the underlying Atom that can be claimed increases over a period of time. So we've reduced all those complexities. It'll be much more easy to match those rewards instead of having a spread that big, because of the deterministic nature of both Cosmos chain and the persistence chain, while the nature of Ethereum being a very different architecture based chain versus Cosmos, it makes it very difficult to match those rewards. So yeah, that's what causes those spread issues.
Okay, and then regarding the second part, for example, Basil is asking here, when is there an stkATOM atom pool on Osmosis? I think that's where most cosmonauts, I would love to see that. You have a yield-bearing asset, and Atom itself, the real asset, you put that into a liquidity pool, and potentially you even earn extra yields on top of that. Is that something that you guys are planning?
Absolutely. So as soon as we launch, this would be the first thing that we'd be doing, launching an stkATOM Atom on Osmosis with on Osmosis, and we'll also be integrating with other dexes in the Cosmos ecosystem and building other use cases with borrowing lending use cases, and doing a bunch of exciting things with vaults and insurance products in the future as well.
And then would P-Stake or XPRT, or which would be an incentive token to drive liquidity?
That's a good question.
Or Osmo, I don't know. You could even make an on-chain proposal, I guess, to subsidize those pools, right? With Osmo rewards.
Yes. So from our perspective, XPRT basically gets used anywhere where it benefits XPRT itself. So even if you look at the stats right now, The staking ratio for persistence chain is about 87.5%. And that's literally one of the highest in the industry. So out of the 122 million XPRT that is staked, about 10 million has been staked through P-Stake, and we obviously want that number to grow over a period of time. So essentially that gets incentivized by XPRT, and then everything else gets incentivized by the P-Stake token. And then obviously, like you said, we will be using we've been going back and forth with Brent on a couple of things for UMI, osmosis, for Osmo incentivization. So we'll try to make sure that all of the integrations for the liquid staked assets, it ends up in as many places as possible.
Yeah.